de Nieto, number 69. We talk Miami sports. We're going to be talking about the Dolphins. Yours, how is he going to do versus New England? Very tough game. Also reviewing the great victory by the Canes over Ohio State and a preview of their All Miss semifinal. Inter Miami, also the Miami Heat. They're doing better recently. Why is that? And this is number 69. And before I forget, presented by Balado Tires, two locations here in Miami to serve you better.
That's right, 69. Who is it?
Mr. Number 69. Oh, yes. Kip Sims, the guard from the Dolphins. Tyler, I don't know you if you remember him. You were, I don't know. No, you weren't born. You weren't born back in the 90s. Yes, Kip Sims, number 69, great guard for the Dolphins. He was an all pro and he played with Webb, Clayton, Duper, and of course, number 13, Dan Marino.
Well, moving on with the Dolphins talk, I think it's kind of a tryout for a lot of players. I mean, a tryout and some people really fighting to keep their jobs, coming up for these next few weeks. I think it's a good situation for at least those in charge, the decision makers, because the end of this team's schedule is against some good teams. So you're really, putting them to the test. It won't be like some, fluke win against the Browns where you get false hope. If Quinn Ewers can step up and beat a team like the Patriots, I think you have to give him, real consideration heading into next season. I think that's the case for a few other guys on this team where if they, kind of close the season out the right way, you have to at least, give them at least some further evaluation. I'm not sure how you feel about that.
No, definitely. I think it's very important for yours, and it's important for McDaniel. It depends on who you believe. A decision maybe has been made about McDaniel probably staying, or maybe that decision has not been made. So I think it's important for McDaniel or the rest of the coaches, and especially Tyler. Some of the players that are not established. Players are not number ones right now. They're not starters in particular. Some of those guys, they're still fighting to stay on the team next year and maybe be in a position of being starters. So that is very important for some of the guys. Also, the guys that have to look for a new contract. You always have to impress the GM, maybe the new one, or maybe the interim that stays as a GM. Now you have Aikman helping in the whole situation as a consultant, uh, reporting to Steve Ross. So that's going to be interesting how he can, help that situation and the selection of the GM, which I think is going to be very important for this team that has to basically rebuild. Yours, Tyler, I think he looked a lot better versus Tampa Bay, and that is also very positive. And they're facing now a very tough team, Tyler, in New England, number 7 defense in the league, and number 5 scoring defense in the league, and number 4 offense in the league. And they have in May a quarterback that is playing at a very high level. He can hurt you running. He can hurt you through the air. And also, I think that he's a guy that his team is really very interested in making him look good. He has the support of that team, and he's the leader of that team. So and he had some good weapons around him. This is a team that does everything well, and that has a chance to be number one in the AFC. And so they're still playing for something, depending on the result that Denver has in their game. There's some bad news for the Dolphins regarding injuries. Tyler, you have to worry about the situation definitely with Achan. He probably is not going to be available, and that is a major loss. That is your best player. And then they have some questions in the offensive line. How much is he going to play? Jackson, is he going to play the right tackle? Then you have the center that is still not 100%. And then you have Brooks on the defense, not 100%, your number one defensive player, and Fitzpatrick that is not available. So Miami doesn't go with all their horses, but New England doesn't have their horses, all their horses either. So It will be very interesting as far as yours is concerned, Tyler. If he plays well in this game, even if they don't win, I think it gives them a good opportunity as you look at the 26th season. But he's going to have competition. He's going to have other people that I think are going to come in, maybe in the draft, maybe a free agent. And remember, they already have Cam Miller in the roster, sixth round from the Raiders, a young guy that can run it. He's a pretty good thrower. He threw at a level, a pretty high level in college. He doesn't come from great program, and not one of the top 20 programs in the country, but definitely he will be also in the competition. So a lot of people are playing for the future.
Yeah, I will say in Ewers' case, or actually not Ewers' case, in Achan's case, why not just shut him down for the season? He's not competing for a rushing title. I think James Cook's going to win that. He has him by like 300 yards at this point. He's already been beaten to the ground this season. He's between his rushing attempts and his receiving attempts, those swings you throw him out of the backfield, he's just been getting beaten up. And if this is one of the few players on this team that you want to move forward with, what do you gain from having him go out there? He's already shown you what he can do. He does amazing things. So I don't really see a point in bringing him out there just to squeeze out another win or two, which I don't even know what another win or two is going to do for this team. So
Yeah, in this case, one win because
yeah,
it's the last game
yeah.
of the season. Tyler, Balado Tires, 63 years established in Miami. They have two locations, Northwest 27th Avenue and 16th Street, and also Southwest 8th Street and 67th Avenue. They're very competitive with their prices. This is a family business, and they have also brake repair services. If you're looking for tires in Miami or in South Florida, definitely the place to go is Balado Tires.
Well, Miami Hurricanes are actually continuing
No,
to
no, Miami. Yeah, Miami Hurricanes,
Hurricanes.
Tyler,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
exactly. But I want you to start in this case, giving us a review of what you saw versus Ohio State, because that was a major victory, right, in the quarterfinal.
Yeah, it was. It was very impressive. I mean, first you look at the defense and that strategy to be able to somewhat contain. They have two first round wide receivers on their team, between Smith and Tate. So for them to be at least somewhat limited, Smith got going in the first quarter a little bit, but that was kind of it. And I mean, very, very impressed by that team. And then, the offense still being able to, put up more points than they did last week. So whatever adjustments needed to be made, between one week and another were made. So very impressed with this team. I think you look at that Ole Miss team, very impressed. I like their quarterback. And I'm not sure if you remember Trinidad Chambliss. We did a small school spotlight on him when he was still at a Division II school. So I would say we were a little bit early on him, but he's a tremendous player. So I think Miami will have their hands full with him next week. But just spotlighting that last week, you get you look at the coaching. I think the coaches there get a lot of criticism. For they get kind of that criticism laid on them where they're great recruiters, but they're not necessarily the best strategic guys and things of that nature. But the adjustments were made from one week to another, like I said. So you got to give them a pat on the back there as well. So moving into this next game, I'm not sure how you think they'll do against Ole Miss. That team, seems to have a fire lit under them as well, too, though.
Well, they scares me. They scare me offensively, Tyler. I think Miami's got to score around 27, maybe 30 points in this game. They're capable. They scored 24 versus Ohio State, the number one defense in college football. So, they're capable. I think they'll have to be a little more aggressive, maybe throw the ball downfield a little more. And the physicality of Miami, Tyler, in the offensive line, in the defensive line, they take over games, and they're they're basic with their will, with their talent, with their physicality. They take care of games, and the offensive line in particular. When it gets to the fourth quarter, you see that the defenses just cannot do it anymore. So I think that will be the key for Miami, but you have to score a lot of points because you got to figure that Ole Miss is going to be able to score. The only thing is that Miami's defense is playing at such a high level, Tyler. If they get the kind of pressure that they got the last 2 weeks with Texas A&M and Ohio State, and I'm more impressed, with the pressure that they put on Ohio State. Uh, if they're able to do that, I think that they have a chance, definitely a good chance in this game. And let's see how Trinidad behaves under those, in that situation. The thing is that he's scrambling. Tyler is out of this world. The guy goes 20 yards behind the line of scrimmage and still makes a positive play out of it. So, this is a very tough guy. I think that this is the number one quarterback they have faced all year. How that defense is gonna be able to behave. Now, I think Miami's got the advantage offensively versus the defense of Ole Miss. I think Miami can move the ball well, and you got to score. And also in a game like that, it might be close at the end. Tyler, turnovers. Turnovers can be the difference in the game. Also, special teams. Sometimes in this type of games, that is the difference. The physicality of Miami could be the difference. I see Miami winning the game, not by much. And Carson Beck, Tyler. Carson Beck. We go back to your favorite quarterback in college. He, as a starter, Tyler, 36-5, combining Georgia and Miami. I know that he's had great teams, especially in Georgia, but 36-5. So, he makes it happen. Now, he has not turned the ball over, which is very important, you know, in the last couple of games. So he's got to maintain that in this game. And he's got to be a little more aggressive because I think they're going to have to score more. So that is the way I see it.
Yeah, I mean that's not. Well, when you say that Chambliss is the best quarterback that they've faced, that's saying a lot because they just faced a Heisman finalist last week, and with saying at Ohio State, and they did a decent
But
job
but
at
would you
containing
but
him.
would you disagree with me?
Um, I'd say it's close, between those two, but I'm not. My point wasn't to say that you were wrong, though. I guess it's just to kind of say that they did face a pretty good quarterback last week and did held their own against him. Obviously,
No,
won the
no,
game,
very
got
well.
past
They
him.
did very well.
Yeah, so that's definitely encouraging when you're going into another. They're different types of quarterbacks, so that's a whole different strategy towards containing them. Especially you mentioned his ability as a scrambler, but just the fact that they were able to do well against Sayed, I think is encouraging heading into next week. But got the Miami Heat playing pretty well again. We've the past couple of weeks kind of had to take a step back and wonder what was going on, but they seem to be on a roll again. So as a lifelong Heat fan who watches every game, what are you seeing?
Well, without your cousin Tyler Hero, playing well. So they have won a few games in a row, having Minnesota now over the weekend and New Orleans. But they came off of a very impressive win, Tyler. Very beating Detroit at their place, you know, away from home, without Hero, and showing the kind of play that they were showing at the beginning of the season. Uh, you know, Playing fast, uh, distributing the ball very well, not having that many turnovers, and being effective, you know, defensively, taking care of the defense, especially on the 3 pointers, and being effective with their long shots, their 3 pointers, and that is being key in the last few games. And also, Tyler, I think that they have gone back to the identity that they had at the beginning of the season, which they sort of lost it, and also the young guys, Tyler, consistency, and that's what you got to have from the young guys. Consistency in particular from a guy that we did a feature on very recently, Jaime Jaquez Jr., that is even making threes now that he was not making last season. He's
Yeah.
playing good defense, and he's been consistent. That is, the key for. And then now Jovic, that was hurt most of the, at the beginning of the season, also contributing. And this guy Jovic, if he gets it right, can be a very, a key player, because this is a guy that can run the fast break. He distributes the ball very well, and he can shoot the 3 pointer, and he can actually penetrate also. So he's almost a complete player except defensively. So it's those young guys keep playing at a pretty high level. I think that they're going to be in a good position. And of course, once they get Hero back and he gets adjusted to the team, which he hasn't gotten adjusted yet, I think this team, you know, is gonna be, it's gonna be able to compete maybe for a number three, a number four in the East. I would not be surprised.
I agree. I do think that's possible. And we headed into this season with much lower expectations. We were saying, well, play in 8 seed, maybe a 7 seed, something like that. But credit to the coaching, credit to, I mean, everybody involved, and for the young guys stepping up. They needed to make that progression. Some of them from year 2 to year 3 to year 4. That time when you really need to prove what you're about, and they've done so. I think also, Jovic is another guy, not necessarily as consistent, but he got paid, and he's slowly been starting to prove that. But I think Hawk has been the most impressive out of the young players developing for sure.
Mm.
Moving on, we got.
Oh, before we
Well,
forget, Tyler,
I have to. Before you do that, just want to give a little eulogy to our fantasy football segment. It is over for the next few months. Everybody loved it. I love doing it, but I lost my year. I lost my championship. Shout out Aiden if you're listening. You won this league's championship. And if any of our listeners won this year's championship, hopefully you use some of our advice. But this season is over. Just want to let you guys know that.
well, that happens, Tyler. In life, right? You win
Yeah.
and you lose. That's the way it goes. You know how you can win? You can win if you go to Balado Tires. If you need tires, 63 years established here in Miami. That is a long time, Tyler. You had not gotten there, but it is a long time. 27th Avenue Northwest and 16th Street, Southwest 8th Street, and 67th Avenue. They have great prices. They're very competitive. They also offer brake service. So if you're looking for tires, the place in South Florida, it is Balado Tires. But what else do we have, Tyler?
For you, this is soccer talk, so I'll kick the ball over to you and let you do your thing here.
All right. Well, Inter Miami, we're talking Inter Miami. What is it that they need? What is it that they haven't gotten yet this season? And they have gotten already. They have made a couple of moves. They got a left winger, a right winger, a left winger that has played at a high level in Europe, and then the right winger from the Argentinian league. And so they took care of two positions that they needed to take care of, especially the left winger. After losing Jori Alba, that retired. So now I think they have another hole. They took care of also a goalkeeper. They added the goalkeeper from the Canadian national team, which was the best goalkeeper in the MLS last season. So that is a major get for them, signing this guy. But they still need a midfielder to take the place of Sergio Busquets. So I think that's important that they do that. Another important move, they're talking to Celta Vigo that has got the rights to Tadeo Allende. So I think they need to make a deal there, because this is a young forward that was very helpful to the team. Luis Suarez, he's pretty old. He's got another 1 year contract. So you need, some a guy that can help offensively, and he definitely did, in particular in the last few games of the season on the playoffs. Tadeo Allende would be an important signing and retaining that player as they open the new stadium next season. I don't want to forget the Panthers, Tyler. They're doing better, definitely in the Eastern Conference, moving up. They had a loss versus the Rangers in the Winter Classic, and that's basically making history in South Florida, in Miami. So we're Miami. Abuelo and the Nieto are Miami. So it's very important to mention that they had the Winter Classic there. It was a loss, but they had over 36,000 people at Lone Depot Park. So an applause to the NHL, to the Rangers, and of course the Florida Panthers for that. You know, uh, definitely something that you know you want to recognize as we're talking Miami sports, and that's what we do. So it's very important also to remember that we're in Facebook, YouTube, and of course TikTok. So if you know feel like getting information regarding Miami sports, this is the place to go.
Yeah, well, going back to that Hurricanes game, we got to recognize a guy who played very well, got an interception, took it back for a touchdown. Keontae Scott. I think you'll be saying some nice things about Mr. Scott today.
Yes, we're recognizing Miami talent, especially young players, and this is one of them. This is one of them. Keontae Scott, a slot corner for the Canes. Tremendous season for Miami, and he made that tremendous defensive play versus Ohio State, spectacular in the college quarterfinal. That INT that basically was very important in that first half. Scott is from San Diego, California, where he was a football and also track star in college. He started in junior college and then eventually transferred to Auburn in 2022, where he posted 54 tackles in his first year. Transferred to Miami in 2025. He recorded 58 tackles and 5 sacks, two forced fumbles, 2 fumbles recovered, and also 2 INTs for the Canes. Scored 2 touchdowns, had 10 tackles, 2 sacks versus Texas A&M. Very important in the playoffs. Could be selected either in the third, fourth, maybe fifth round of the NFL draft. A very talented young player, Tyler Keontae Scott from the Hurricanes. And we cannot forget Balado Tires. If you're looking for tires, that is a place to go. 2 locations in Miami, Northwest 27th Avenue and 16th Street, and also Southwest 8th Street and 67th Avenue.
We got a moving on to Miami sports trivia. Well, we love this segment. I think this segment helps both of us a little bit because we kind of are able to, I would say, learn things, remember things. You get to remember the names of players you only know the faces and numbers of. I'll start this week. This is a simple one for you. I don't know if you're gonna get it right. To be honest, you would have. I'll say this: you would have called it and announced it when it happened.
Well,
You would
my
have,
record is my record is very bad, Tyler.
yes, but when this happened, you would have said this person did this. If that means anything to you. So, who is the Miami Hurricanes leader at all time? This is somebody I had never heard of in my life. This which says a lot. This is a Miami Hurricanes all-time leader in rushing touchdowns.
In rushing touchdowns,
Yup.
and you never heard of him. Mm, wow. I mean, uh, you go back, Alonso Highsmith, uh, but it's not Alonso because you were around and you were around that program, the Columbus program, so you would know Alonso Highsmith. So as you go back, is it Sullivan? back in the day, like in the late 70s. Uh,
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was in the late '80s. When he
mm,
left, he was also the school's all-time leading rusher in terms of yardage.
mm. So I did a few of his games for sure. But my memory, Tyler, I don't remember the names. Sometimes I remember the numbers. So go ahead and tell me.
Mr. Stephen McGuire with 35 career touchdowns. Again, I don't
Big
mean to be
guy,
dis.
big guy. Yeah, very strong runner.
Yeah, he had three more than Edrin James. Edrin James is number two. Obviously, heard of Edrin James, but he spent 4 seasons at Miami. Finished second, like I said, second all time when he left, at least in career rushing yards at the program. 35 career rushing touchdowns is a lot. I mean, immediately his freshman year, he had 10. I guess he seems kind of like he was a goal line back type of player, because he wasn't particularly rushing for 1,000 yards every season, but he was getting at least 10 touchdowns every season, and was on the cover of Sports Illustrated, helped Miami beat number one Notre Dame. So, definitely got to give him his recognition there.
Now, your question. This is something that you should take care of. But it's very interesting question, Tyler, because we can inform our viewers or listeners through this question. Name at least six UN Hurricanes elected to the NFL Hall of Fame. Obviously, there are more than six, but I'm just asking you for six of them.
Ray Lewis number one, Ed Reed number two, Jim Kelly number three, Edrin James number four. Who's a fun person that we can go with? Forget it. I'll go
Think,
Cortez.
think of think of
Cortez.
think
No,
of
no,
a
I
long
got,
time ago.
I got, I got people. Cortez Kennedy number five. Um, we can go Andre Johnson number
All right,
six.
you got six. So you got it. You got six already, but let's check some other names. There are a total of 11, Tyler. Number two all time. All right. Number two in the history of that Hall of Fame. Okay. Tied with Notre Dame. Number one is USC with 14. So the other names: Jim Otto, 1980, Ted Hendricks in 1990.
Mm.
You said already Kelly, Warren Sapp,
Ah,
2013. Also, I think you said Adrian James. The other ones are Andre Johnson and Devin Hester in 2024. So those are the 11, Tyler. So that shows, the program, the strength of that program, in particular in the 80s, and also in the 90s. We have done it again, Tyler. Abuelo and the Nieto, right?
yep.
Number 69. All right. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. If you are interested in Miami sports, we're one of one of the podcasts. I don't know if there are too many others that talk Miami sports, and we talk all the different Miami sports, and we go in depth. Thank you. Hasta luego. Arrivederci.